IBW is inviting you to support a long-term commitment to community building and cultural preservation in Grenada, beginning with the Louise Langdon Little Memorial Site and expanding into future projects that uplift the communities in Grenada and strengthen global Pan-African solidarity. Please visit www.ibw21.org for more information.
Why is conflict resolution such an important skill, and why is it so absent among many black men today?
Well, I would think that it's so important simply because it allows for us to have an option. Once we get into a situation that we're unable to navigate our way out of it. Because at this point in time, if you can come to a point that you have two winners, then nobody leaves defeated. And that's what the whole key to conflict resolution is. It gives you another way about seeing a certain thing that basically you only saw from one perspective. And it gives you options. And those options give you freedom, a freedom to be able to say, well, I made a decision, something I believed in, and it's great, for the greater good. So that primarily would be my factor for saying why conflict resolution is so very important, especially in our communities. Because in our communities, we've basically been taught from the perspective that there's no compromise. You're a man, I better do him before he do me. It's always a life and death situation, when it's really not that. And that's simply because we have not been taught to be able to have another way about seeing certain things. And it's also come to the point of not really having a family structure there, that you're able to learn how to basically come to a conclusion or how to navigate or negotiate in a structure where, where you don't necessarily have to win, but you're not necessarily losing. And that's a good point to have in point, I would say. I always say it's never a period, it's always a comma. And that comma always give you the option of being able to take it to the next step, And in our line of work, in fact, we often tell the kids, a live dog is better than a dead lion, because the dead lion won't have the opportunity to have a family, to have a future, have a wife, have those type of things. So we give them other options to be able to look at certain things that they could walk away with. And the conflict resolution component of the organization is just profound. That's why it's so important that we have this particular concept in our schools. We teach it at an early age. 8 and 9 years old, now we begin to see kids carrying guns and being more content, having more challenges with each other. So the conflict resolution is a monumental piece for us, especially if you got a good person that's able to facilitate it to the point that them understanding and drawing it out crystalline clear. Well, you're meeting people where they're actually at. You're giving them examples that they can believe in and be able to take to the next step. Because without the conflict resolution, it's almost like a 5-year-old kid in the kitchen telling grandma how to cook Thanksgiving dinner. you know, he's gonna say what he believes until he's able to learn any better. And that's what you're teaching. That's what the whole component, being able to teach a kid, or a young person, or a person, or anybody, how to be able to utilize conflict resolution.